Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It's Denise Salcedo. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling, episode 25. It is the March 17th edition. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. BTW, I am so sorry that I was a couple minutes late today. So I kid you not, I have no idea what was going on with my audio setup, but there was something that wasn't connected, and I was running around like a headless chicken, plugging everything in, plugging everything out, and then right when I was about to give up and switch microphones, I literally lifted up my laptop, put it back down, and all of a sudden everything was working again. So thank you so much for bearing with me here, but holy cow, do we have some wrestling to talk about here tonight, because I knew going into the show, okay, based on everything that AEW had announced, I figured, okay, St. Patrick's Day Slam, it's going to be super awesome, all of that, right? But I don't necessarily think that I was expecting everything that went down here tonight, especially with that closing main event. So now, before we jump into the show and talk about everything that did go down, I do want to give you guys a reminder that this is a very interactive show, so I will be reading all of your thoughts, your comments, your opinions, etc. So as we go through everything, feel free to give all the information you need to give in the chat box. Plus, also a friendly reminder that F4W does allow me to keep 100% of the proceeds from all super chats. If you guys want to send in a super chat, they do help me out. I do get to keep 100% of those proceeds after YouTube takes a cut. And I do get to those first. So if you're like, Denise, I really have a comment or something that I really want you to read ASAP, then I will read it if you send in a super chat. But other than that, guys, we're going to kick things off with AEW. We're going to go through everything one by one, everything that happened, and then jump into NXT here today. Holy cow, what a night. I'm going to kick things off with the first super chat that we got. And this one is from Simray G Punk, who says, a genuine game changer for the AEW women's roster. And I have to 100% agree with that, because on here, on my show, on social media, pretty much everywhere. AEW has, since they launched, people have been critiquing and criticizing their women's division. They haven't done everything right, and we can all agree with that, I think. But given the last few weeks, we have been seeing changes. The last couple of months, we have been seeing changes in the women's division. But this match here tonight, this lights out match between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, was, in my opinion, a big turning point. Like, things were already starting to look a lot better in the women's division in AEW, but this match here tonight was a major turning point. The second this match started getting really good, I went out and I tweeted that I don't want to hear anybody say anything negative about it, because it really, really was a game changer. And I hope that a lot of people really see that for what it was. Both Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa literally went out there and not only killed themselves for our pleasure and our entertainment, but I firmly believe that they went out there to prove a point, not just to themselves, but to everybody, that, hey, if we put women in these types of spots, they can do it. And we have seen it. We have seen it being done in terms of women being put in pivotal spots in WWE a lot. We have been seeing it. So it's not like women haven't been in these pivotal spots. But for AEW, speaking of AEW and AEW's history alone, this was a very important night, an important moment, an important match. And it felt, going into this match, I don't know what I was expecting, guys. I wasn't expecting something that was going to be super crazy. I wasn't expecting to necessarily feel the way that I felt coming out of this match. Coming out of this match, I felt proud. I felt excited. And I'll tell you this, part of me wanted to rewatch the match again, but obviously I didn't have time to do that because, I have the show. But part of me did just want to go ahead and go back and watch the match again. So now we do have a couple more super chats that I'm going to get into. And we have another one from, let's see, here we go. Let me pull it up. This one is from Ryan T, who says, Rosa goes back to NWA, wins the title. Britt wins the AEW DON, and then they do the rubber match, maybe cage at first pay-per-view with fans, titles for title. Okay, look, what my plans here are, not my plans, obviously, but my thoughts on this is they really need to get the AEW Women's Championship on Thunder Rosa. AEW has done a really phenomenal job of building Thunder Rosa as a very strong babyface, and I like what she has been doing, and they've been keeping her strong. The storytelling between her and Britt has been the best storytelling that they have done for the women, and so after that, I think that she should definitely become champion. And after that, they can always circle back to this feud with Britt Baker. So I do feel like they can always go back on this. We have another super chat from Dagon S. Broad. My God, we are getting so many super chats. Thank you, everybody. This one is from Dagon, who says, hi, Denise. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Just have to say, holy crap, Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker was incredible. I think every single naughty word in the language that you can think of, holy balls, spitballs, I don't even know. I mean, this match really has people feeling emotions. I feel like, I don't know, guys, I really came out of this match not expecting to feel this sort of excitement to see what we were going to be doing next with the women's division, with Thunder Rosa, with Britt Baker. So I do feel like very excited coming off of this match. We have another super chat that I do want to read. This one is from Crifter C. Thank you so much to Crifter C for this very generous super chat. Says Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker was definitely match of the night. The Warriors came out to brutalize. Dude, I would go as far to say it's one of the best matches that we have been seeing on AEW, period. I feel like had this match happened at Revolution, I think that it would have literally, I mean, obviously they had, the death match and, a lot of other stuff, but had this match taken place at a pay-per-view, had it taken place at Revolution, I definitely think that it would have been one of the most talked about matches, but it kind of meant a little bit more tonight, though, because it kind of was able to stand on its own. There wasn't really anything else stealing any light, getting any distraction from it. So you were able to really focus in on this match. And the fact that I'm really excited to see what the ratings are going to be afterwards, especially during this match. I'm usually Like usually for me, like the ratings talk, some weeks I'm interested, some weeks I'm more less interested than other weeks. But I think that this week I really am interested to see how they did, especially because during this match, obviously NXT had that tag team championship match. And I will tell you that I first started watching things side by side, and immediately I had to press pause on the NXT match because my attention was honestly was all in on this match here. It was all in with the women here. And let's see what else here. We have another super chat from Bulk Destroyer. Bulk Destroyer, who says MJF is the future of wrestling. His promo solidified this faction as a real force to pay attention to. Dude, MJF's promo tonight was awesome. I mean, here's the thing though about MJF is that we already know his great mic skills. We already know his great promo skills. That's something that, it's nothing new. We already know that he's great at that. But I think that today he did a really excellent job of getting me excited for a new group, a new stable. We now have a name, The Pinnacle, but he really did a good job of necessarily keeping the momentum, keeping everything that they had from last week. Because last week I came on here and I basically said, I think we all sort of agreed that even though we saw like the turn coming between MJF and the Inner Circle, I don't think we all necessarily expected this new stable to form out of it. And so it really was this very exciting end to AEW Dynamite last week. And I think that they followed up to it this week in a really phenomenal way with MJF, obviously, going on the mic and basically talking about everything that he did with Jericho at the Inner Circle and putting over the members of the Pinnacle over, which I thought worked out really good. So thank you so much to Bulk Destroyer for sending in this super chat. All right, guys, we are getting so many comments. We have another super chat here from Nick Reader. Thank you so much to Nick Reader, who says, not sure how I feel about the name The Pinnacle. I get they called be called the Horsemen. Also, the women killed it tonight. Okay, so in terms of, you're actually not the first person that I see not necessarily like the name of The Pinnacle. And I will tell you that I feel like it's one of those things where you're just hearing it for like the first night. So it is going to take a little while to get used to. I didn't mind it because I like the way that it was sort of weaved into the promos and how they basically kept saying it like, we are the Pinnacle, we are the Pinnacle. Bam, there you go, team name. So I think they did a really good job of introducing the team name and sort of explaining as to why they are essentially the Pinnacle. So I do like it. It's not necessarily the name that I was expecting, or maybe a name that I'm sure there's probably other stuff that are a lot cooler, but I don't necessarily hate the Pinnacle. So we'll circle back to that. If you guys have any thoughts on how you feel about the name or whatever, feel free to send that in as well. But we are getting so many comments, guys. I will try to get to as many as we possibly can. But let's go ahead and jump into the opening segment of AEW Dynamite, and we're going to run through things just like that so that it can be really easy to sort of touch on everything that we need to touch on here. So here we go. We got another super chat. Thank you so much to Dagon S. Brad, who says, Spitballs classic, Denise. Dude, I'm making up words now, okay? I couldn't even come up with some brilliant bad words to say on here just to really put over the hype of this woman's match. Like, seriously. So spitballs it is. All right, here we go, guys. So St. Patrick's Day Slam kicked off with Penta versus Cody Rhodes. And last week I came on here and I basically put over the fact that this really feels new between Cody and Penta. This feels like a fresh feud. I was excited about it. I'm excited about the fact that we're getting to see Rey Fenix shine on his own, and we're also getting to see Penta shine on his own. I really like the fact that we are getting two separate storylines that, they're both looking really great. But anyways, I like the fact that this match got started off really hot, really fast, and with Cody Rhodes essentially being pissed off. Last week, Penta basically told him that he was gonna, ruin his moment with his unborn child. He's talking smack on his unborn child. So if someone comes down here and talks about your child, better yet, your unborn child, you're going to be pissed, right? You're going to be angry. And we got that from Cody Rhodes. And not only that, this match, to me, in my opinion, was not, I think a lot of people can expect certain things from a Cody Rhodes match, but this to me was not your typical Cody Rhodes match. We got to see him do a lot of different stuff in this. And I really liked how both of these guys complemented each other during this match. So Both of these guys came out looking really good. I liked both of them, everything that they did in this match. Some of my favorite spots included all the chops from Penta, which I thought came off great. The Canadian Destroyer from Cody looked really good too. The only thing, even though I love this match, the only thing I wasn't crazy about, and I did tweet this out, was that I wasn't necessarily crazy about the finish, just because I thought that it should have been a bigger deal. Essentially, Penta breaking, like, snapping the arm. I thought that that should have been a bigger deal, and it should have been put over a lot more and maybe used at a different spot and at a different moment throughout this feud. So I wasn't crazy about the finish, but it still didn't take away from this match. Post match, I like the fact that Penta went out there and literally was just like punching him in the face because he was pissed off, after Cody winning with the roll up. So Penta punching him in the face, this new Penta that we're getting to see, this very angry, edgy Penta. I am here for it. Afterwards, Dustin and the Gun Club came out to help Cody. To be honest, guys, this was one of the best Cody matches in a while, because I talked about this last week and I'll reiterate it again. He sort of got, obviously, for a couple of weeks, couple of months even, I think, he was doing the whole Shaq, Jade Cargill thing. And that wasn't one of my favorite things that we were seeing on a weekly emphasis. I was not big on that storyline. I was not big on that feud. Obviously, the match and the Shaq going through the table, that spot was really good. All of that, right? It turns out to be a lot better than expected, but I wasn't actually feeling the entire storyline up until that point. So I am happy that we are going in this new direction with Cody Rhodes, and these types of matches feel I want to see more of this. Like, I want to see more of Cody do work in the ring with different guys that I necessarily wasn't expecting him to have these one-on-one storylines with, these one-on-one feuds with, these one-on-one matches. So I am definitely feeling everything that they are doing right now with Penta and Cody. So here we go. Let's get we have another super chat from Ryan T, who says MJF stable should have been called Spitballs. Ryan T, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. And I think we had another super chat that we had. I don't know if I read it here. No, I think I read all of them. Okay, good. I want to make sure I did that. But let's see, what did you guys think here? What did you guys think of Penta versus Cody Rhodes? Go ahead and send them in here. And we have a comment from the Keys Boo, who actually thinks that Penta should have won. I wouldn't. I would not have mind that whatsoever. And yeah, he got some of his heat back afterwards, but I do think that a win over Cody Rhodes kind of would have really solidified this new Penta. It would have made a bigger impact, I think, to have him win instead of losing in a roll up, essentially. So I do get that. However, Haj Galashi is a lot more optimistic, says Penta will get the win eventually. Let the story play out. Yeah, exactly. Let the story play out. I'm really liking all their matches. Their one match that they had, I'm liking it so far. So I really enjoy that. Sean says the main event was so good that I forgot what happened in the first half of the show. Dude, it's kind of like the main event was so good that it kind of not made you forget everything that happened on the show, but it made the show. It was right. AEW Dynamite was already good, right? It was a good episode. But now, after that match, I think it is an episode that people are going to be talking about. And when they talk about it, the reason they're going to be talking about it was that main event. So it kind of took Dynamite to another level. I think that's what we want to get at here. And let's see what else you guys are saying here. And go ahead and send in any thoughts, comments, predictions, etc. We have a comment from Nicholas, who says, honestly, don't get why Phoenix and Pac are not involved with Penta in this, would like to see them versus the Nightmare Family. Look, I don't necessarily mind it, because I feel like a lot of things, we've been seeing a lot of tag matches. We've seen a lot of stables versus stables. I do like to get those hot singles feuds. So I'm okay with that. I'm definitely okay with that. We have a comment from Mark, who says, I think people sleep on Penta and underrate him a lot lately because Rey Fenix is so overly spectacular as of late, but I really dig Penta. I think that both of these guys can offer something totally different. And I've said this before and I'll say it again, but Penta and Rey Fenix as single stars, I think, would do so much more for AEW than as a tag team, especially because in the world of their tag team division, they pretty much already have it. Their tag team division is pretty dang solid. They have so many teams that they can literally do whatever they want. They have so many different options. They don't necessarily need the Lucha Brothers to be a tag team. And obviously they can still have tag matches and all of that because everybody loves the Lucha Brothers. But I do think that having them as single stars definitely makes them that much more important important. Cody Molly brings up a good point, says this was a career-defining moment for Britt Baker. Dude, I think it was a career-defining moment for both women, for both of them. It was a career-defining moment for both women and also for the women's division in general. So I think that the women of AEW should be really excited right now because the fact that they went out there and they sort of broke this barrier down, they did something new on Dynamite with the women, I think should get the rest of the women really excited. We have another super chat from Bulk Destroyer who says, AEW does a great job with roster versatility, single stars becoming tag stars becoming single stars. It keeps everything so exciting. I agree. I do think that mixing it up adds a lot of excitement. You know, we even got to see it a little bit with Jungle Boy when he, you know, has his singles matches. Those are always really fun. And we've seen other examples of that, but that's just one that pops into my head as of this moment. But thank you so much to Bulk Destroyer for this comment here. So after this match, we had a backstage segment, which I want to talk about because I was actually a real big fan of this. So Don Callis is backstage with the Young Bucks, and he's basically telling the Young Bucks that they're not the same anymore. Says that Kenny doesn't even recognize them. Says that Kenny has changed, calls him the god of wrestling, and basically says that the Young Bucks are not at his level. Says the Bucks are not elite anymore, that they're just another tag team with fancy tights living off their name. I love this promo by Don Callis. I love all of the shots that he threw at the Young Bucks because I think that, you know, the Young Bucks, always their matches are always really good, but I don't necessarily I think we can see so much more from the Young Bucks. So I kind of hope that this promo from Don Callis sort of awakens them, you know, in the storyline perspective, obviously, awakens them. And I want to see the Young Bucks get pissed. I want to see them get angry. I want to see them get fired up. And so that is why I was a fan of this backstage segment here. We do have a comment from, we're going to check this one out from, Hodge Galosha says, Callis is so good. His promo last night was amazing too. Yeah, good stuff here. Anthony says, leg slap T was very funny. I did wonder what was next for the Young Bucks. Exactly. And let's see. Let's go ahead and move on to the next topic here. All right. So Jade Cargill was in action here tonight. I am very curious to see what you guys thought of this match against Danny Jordan, which was a squash really, but I do want to get an idea for how you guys feel about Jade Cargill so far. So go ahead and send in your comments. I will be reading those. But so prior to this, and obviously tonight was a very important night for the women. It was a very monumental night for the women. So that's already set in stone. But during this match, during this point, one of the things that I wanted to come on here and that I wanted to say, because we have been critiquing the AEW women's division. So one of the things that I wanted to come on here and that I wanted to say while watching this match, I kept thinking about how we really do need, because AEW has so many young female talents. They're very promising and all of that. I do think that they need more veteran women, somebody like, a Jazz, a Victoria, somebody like that can come in here and that can work with these girls, work with the girls that aren't necessarily at a certain level yet, because I feel at the moment we really just have Thunder Rosa. We have Britt Baker, but I really do think that they need more of the veteran women to come in and work with the younger talents. And this match for me, had Jade Cargill, had this match been with Jade Cargill versus Serena Deeb, I do think that, Jade Cargill working with Serena Deeb would really help her get a lot better. And obviously she just can't be having only matches with Serena Deeb. So I do think we need more veteran women on the roster to help talents like Jade Cargill just get to that next level. So, I mean, honestly, this was a quick squash match. This is fine. It's going to get her, get her wins on the roster and all of that. That's fine. Get her TV time. But I think in terms of work rate and for her to keep improving as a worker, she definitely needs to work with some different women, some women that are a little bit more advanced per se. And then afterwards, she did go at it with Red Velvet verbally, because Red Velvet was watching on the sideline. So I like that they're continuing this. They still have something for Jade Cargill. So, but she's just on a very different level than, what we saw later on in the night. So here we go. We have a comment. Let's go ahead and see what you guys all think here. We have a comment from K-Town Shutdown 21 who says, vets like Serena and Rosa have been godsends for the division. That's what they were missing early on, and they've been killing it ever since they showed up. Yeah, but I still think that we need more. We definitely need more. Bloody Blue says, I wish Mickie James would end up in AEW as a great veteran that could elevate younger female wrestlers in AEW. She'd be perfect, and WWE is not really using her. Mickie James was one of the names that I was going to bring up. Obviously, I didn't name her because, right now she's still doing stuff with WWE, but I think Mickie James would be a fantastic person to bring in, especially because she was just talking on Twitter about age and how there's sort of this thing that women have to like start retiring at a certain age. And she was talking about that on Twitter. And it kind of, brought into my mind, like, no, you don't. First of all, there shouldn't be an age limit. If there's no age limit for the men, there shouldn't be one for the women. So let's have her come on here. I think she would be a great addition to the AEW women's roster to really help a lot of the younger women just get a lot better. And let's see what else we got here. And okay, here we go. I do want to mention this because our Rig says that he really likes Layla Hirsch. And I've come on here and I've talked so many great things about Layla Hirsch from the moments that we've been able to see her on Dynamite. She has done pretty well. And so I was very happy when Tony Khan basically officially announced that he had signed Layla Hirsch. And I do think Layla Hirsch is a great start to, for a lot of promising young girls to just keep building that roster. So I do appreciate that as well. And let's see what else we got here, guys. Go ahead and send your comments in. We do have, all right. We're seeing some more comments here. And this one is from Morningstar, who says, Jade is like Trish Stratus. She is green and we are watching her grow. We are watching her grow. Yeah, exactly. I don't have any worries that she's going to get better. Again, we just need more veteran women to help her get to that next level. All right, guys. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say on that sense. So let's go ahead and jump into, all right, last week, what was really, really, really fun, and I know we kind of talked about this already, so I just want to reiterate things a little bit more. Last week, the most shocking thing about Dynamite was obviously the turn, MJF turning on the Inner Circle, thinking for a second that everybody on the Inner Circle except for Sammy were going to turn on Jericho, but then they turn on MJF, and then MJF comes out with this new stable. I mean, there was a lot of back and forth there. It was a very, very exciting, impactful ending to Dynamite last week, and tonight we got the follow-up from that. I mentioned earlier that I'm very happy at how they kept the momentum, how they followed up on this. I think that MJF cut the promo of a lifetime. So essentially they come out. What we know now is that their new name is the Pinnacle. And really all that I kind of want to reiterate is basically the fact that MJF sort of kind of gives us a backstory as to how from day one, what he really wanted to do was dismantle the Inner Circle because he wanted to essentially build something bigger and better on top of their remains. I like the fact that he gave us a backstory. I like the fact that he kind of basically kept saying, hey, it was not easy to be a shadow, to be, in the background of Chris Jericho as Chris Jericho did his stuff. So I like that he basically talked about having to be a backseat to him. He makes fun of Chris Jericho's hairline, which was pretty funny. And basically just says that he is going to be, that he's only, I think he says he's only like 24. He's like in his early 20s, that in a few years from now, he's going to be the one, like in years and years from now, he is going to be the GOAT of wrestling. So I loved all of this. He came across as like very, very, very scary because if you're watching this and let's say you hate MJF, you're like, oh, I'm sick of this guy. He really did a great job of basically telling you, the viewer, like, I'm going to be here forever. You're not going to get rid of me. So I really enjoyed all of this. He basically said that the Pinnacle will be the backbone of AEW for years to come. And so I think that down the line, once we look at the history of the Pinnacle, this will be something that obviously people will remember, people will talk about. And once the Pinnacle becomes, a well-known stable with its own history, people are going to go back and talk about this. So I think this was a pretty awesome way of introducing the Pinnacle and sort of just getting excited about them, period. So we have a super chat from Dark Talk. Thank you so much to Dark Talk for sending it in. Says, MJF and totally killed that promo, but I got a very Evolution vibe from it. There was a lot of similarity to this promo and the first Evolution one. Dude, I was a big fan of Evolution. So I don't necessarily mind that if there was connections, I don't mind it, but I think they just did a really good job, especially obviously MJF and Tully, since they were the ones on the mic. They did a really good job of explaining what they were, explaining what they wanted to do and what they were going to become. And they got me excited. So I think it was overall a success here. But what did you guys think here? We also have another comment from Anthony who says, Top of the Mountain is the pinnacle. I remember when Inner Circle first came out and it was shrugged. We'll get used to it sooner than later. And we have another comment from, let's see, I'm going to try to get as many comments as we can get here. We have a comment from Zane who says, MJF was the greatest tonight. He really did cut the promo of a lifetime. And that's kind of interesting to say because if you kind of clip out every MJF promo and put them side by side and just watch them all together, right? It's kind of hard to say like, oh, this one's better than the other one because there's been so many good ones. But I do think that this is the one. This was the best one by far, which is really exciting because I think maybe a lot of people think, oh, wow, he can't be entertaining all the time. Well, it turns out he can be entertaining all the time. And we have another comment from Ryan T who says, Hangman is going to be the next champ, but I could see Hangman versus MJF as a pay-per-view headliner within the year. I do think, and I've said this a lot of times and I'll say it again, but I do think that Hangman is eventually going to be the face of AEW. I think down the line, he's going to be, he's going to be in the Kenny Omega spot. He's going to be in the Jon Moxley spot. He's going to get there. And I do think a feud with him and MJF would be awesome, but there's so many feuds I think that I would like to see Hangman Page involved in. So here we go. Anything else? If you have a really good comment and I missed it, please feel free to send in a super chat. They are the best way for me to see your comments as we go through here. And anything else? Okay, let's read this one from the Keys Boo who says, love the subtle inclusion of haven't been able to say this for 6 months. I'm better than you and you know it line. Yeah, it's like he had all of this pent up anger, like he was done. He really made me believe. See, here's the thing about this MJF Jericho Inner Circle storyline. Is that at the beginning, we all kind of knew that MJF had something up his sleeve, right? We all figured, all right, MJF is eventually gonna, he's gonna make the Inner Circle break up. He's not really friends with Chris Jericho. He really just wants to be the leader of the Inner Circle. And we all kind of knew that, right? Heading into it. And we kind of knew it throughout the entire time, right? But there were so many times where I think he convinced the viewers that, hey, maybe him and Jericho really are friends. Maybe this is a real friendship. So I like the fact that we sort of went on this roller coaster of a ride with the Inner Circle. And I'm telling you, like even last week when we thought that MJF had successfully managed to get the entire Inner Circle on his side, we believe that. I think a lot of people watching believed that. And I think a lot of people like myself were shocked when in turn they were always on Jericho's side. And so it kind of became this predictably unpredictable storyline, and that's what made it exciting. So there were all these different layers to it where even though people were predicting, okay, this is what's going to happen, in turn it sort of did, but it happened in a different way. And I think that is honestly what has gotten over this entire thing, like really, really gotten over it. And we have a comment from Labor Days who thought that Tully was better than MJF. I thought Tully brought up a lot of great points, but I just think that MJF was obviously the one that outshined and whatnot. We have a comment from Bulk Destroyer who says, I love that MJF disowned Jericho's comedy BS. It brought him back to a serious role, even though I loved MJF in a comedy-esque role. I think he's always going to be able to do the comedy, but he's going to be able to do it in a different way. He'll be able to do it because even today, he incorporated that line about Jericho's hairline, right? There was a lot of little things that he mentioned in there that were funny, but they didn't come off like as a funny, dorky sort of way. It came off like funny in a cool way, right? In a different way. So I do like that. Nicholas says, I think also what made the MJF segment great was not having any interference from the Inner Circle makes Pinnacle meant to be taken seriously. I agree with that. While he was cutting this promo, I kept thinking, this is really good. This is really good. Do not let the Inner Circle come out and interfere. This is really good. Do not let the Inner Circle come out and interfere. And I think that we all sort of kind of felt that way. And I think for a second, we kind of felt that maybe the Inner Circle might come out and interfere, but they didn't. And yes, it did make him feel like that much more legit. And let's see what else we have here. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move on. As we continue on, feel free to send in any super chats, comments, and I will try to get to as many as possible. But after this, we had a very fun match. And out of all the matches, I was really looking forward to this one. And it was Matt Hardy, Private Party, Butcher and the Blade, defeated Jurassic Express and Bear Country. So the reason why I was looking forward to this match was because I loved everybody in this match. Like, I love Jurassic Express. Bear Country has gotten over with me really, really fast, instantaneously. Like, I was like, okay, I'm a Bear Country fan. I love the Butcher and the Blade. I've been a fan of them for a while now, so I am a fan of theirs. Before I continue on with that, I do have a super chat that I want to read from Daniel Zambrano. Thank you so much to Daniel for sending this in. He says, just watched Thunder Rosa with tears on the AEW post show, and it moved me. What a great night for Latinos and women's wrestling. Also, Angelico of Phoenix was low-key a masterpiece of a match. Okay, I'll have comments about that afterwards, but once we get to that match, I will tell you what I thought about Angelico versus Rey Fenix. So we'll get there. But I was thinking the exact same thing, because obviously Thunder Rosa is representing, Latinas everywhere, not just women, but also Latinas. And I kept thinking about it, and I was like, thank you. Thank you. That was very, very exciting. Very, very exciting, because as you guys know, in the world of a lot of promotions aren't necessarily representing Latinos the way that they should be. And I think we've seen a lot of missed opportunities with a lot of Latino talents. So when we do get to see Latinos in the spotlight, it really, really is great. And better yet, a Latina, a woman, very, very exciting. So I do agree with Daniel and his comment here. And I'm very excited for Thunder Rosa. And I've been able to chat with Thunder Rosa on interviews and stuff. And it's really awesome to see what she has been able to do and what she represents. So that's really awesome there. So, and Daniel also, after when she got the pin, you could tell in her eyes, I think she was already crying in that moment. And I kind of feel, I don't know, I probably have to rewatch this, but I kind of feel like she had like a little tiny millisecond of a moment with Britt Baker during that ending. I kind of felt like there was a connection there, like a mutual, we did it. So that was really nice to see. It was like a really, maybe I made it up, I don't know, but I kind of felt like I saw like a tiny millisecond of that in there. And I think that both of them really knew what they had done at that moment. And that's really, really awesome to see. So I can't wait to see the post show, the AEW post show. I will want to see that. And I'll obviously see that after this show. And so we have a comment that I do want to read from Anthony, because we were talking about this match. So prior to that super chat, I was talking about the Jurassic Express Bear Country match and all of that. So one of my favorite spots here that Anthony points out is the spot where Bear Country throws Marco Stunt. That was an awesome spot. I marked out for that, because that's the thing about Marco Stunt. Obviously, he's a tiny guy. He's fun sized. So why not do these, fun spots with him when you can do them? They're going to get so over with the crowd immediately. That's immediately something that is fun to watch. So I really, I did like that. I liked that spot. I thought it was pretty fun. That was actually probably one of my favorite spots. We got to see a lot more Marco Stunt in this match than Luchasaurus. We got to see a little bit more of Luchasaurus and all of that, but I thought that we could have seen a little bit more like of Bear Country and all of that. I actually was kind of hoping this match would be a little longer, just because selfishly I wanted to see more cool spots. So I was being a little selfish in this match. I really was looking forward to like all of these, fun spots. We did get a few, which I did like. But honestly, I kind of wanted this match to go a little longer. But there you go. Good match, fun match. I really enjoyed it. All right, anything else here? Daniel says, we almost lost Marco Stunt tonight. Holy crap. Dude, and if you go back and you rewatch that, like he flew like I almost felt the guys weren't going to catch him, because he kind of fell like in this really like awkward way, like the way that he landed. I'm going to go back and rewatch that, but from what I saw, it kind of looked like he was just, free falling there, which was pretty cool. Sean Harrington says, Bear Country was there for the right moments, though, and it's teasing future feud with them and Jurassic Express. Thank you, Sean. I wanted to bring that up too. Thank you. I wrote that down in my notes and I forgot to say it. I am excited. I love the fact that they were teasing this match between Jurassic Express and Bear Country. I am 100% here for that match. Just know, whenever that match happens, I, Denise Salcedo, am going to be marking out for it because I'm very, very excited about him. Very excited. So there you guys go. And let's go ahead and move on. So after this, we had a backstage promo with Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. And Moxley basically just says that he's not feeling too good, says he had to take a step back and look at the big picture and fix the real problem. And then basically notes that the real problem is the Good Brothers. So they start calling Kingston and Moxley start calling them cheap shot artists. Moxley says that he's mad that he had to spend money on Talking Shop of Mania, which I thought was a pretty funny line. And all I gotta say is that I am loving what they have been doing so far with Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. The reason why I like them together and what they've been doing in all of their promos and all of that is because we already know that Kingston obviously has a different background. He has a different, mentality about how he does things and what really classifies, a badass, what really classifies a tough guy. And Kingston is really just doing that. Like he's doing that. So he's bringing that portion of the personality into the duo. But then Jon Moxley now has literally been risking his life left and right. So he brings in this different type of edge. So I think that both Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston complement each other in a really in different ways, but it works. And what I like about this is that they're coming out here and they're, portraying to be these, tough guys, right? But here's the thing is that because they are, it's really easy to buy it. You don't have to try too hard. You don't have to, it's kind of like when you have somebody come out, they're cutting a promo and they're like, oh, I'm really mad. I'm this tough guy, whatever. You don't always buy it, right? Well, with Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston, you buy it because it feels natural. It feels genuine. You legit believe these people are who they say they are. And so that is why I'm a fan of what they're doing right now. So we'll get into that match afterwards, but really quickly before that match, we did have a interview with Christian backstage with Dasha. And basically just says that he's the workhorse in pro wrestling and he levels up talent, says he's going after Kenny's spot, but that he wants to earn some wins prior to that, and basically wants to cement his legacy in the world of professional wrestling and outwork everyone. But here we go. We're getting into the Eddie Kingston, Jon Moxley versus Good Brothers match, Doug Gallows and Carl Anderson. So this match gets started before it gets started. Good Brothers come out and attack Kingston when he is doing his entrance. Moxley eventually comes in and tries to help Kingston out, but the Good Brothers get the better end of them and they start brawling on the outside of the ring, and the Good Brothers pretty much stay dominant throughout this brawl. Once the match starts, it was more of a fight, really. This match was really more of a fight, and I really, really liked that because that's the way that it should be. You don't want to come in here and see the Good Brothers and Moxley and Kingston do rest holds because it just wasn't going to make sense with the story. It wasn't going to make sense with what they've been doing, what they've been telling. It wasn't going to make sense. So I like the way that they pretty much stayed dominant throughout this entire match. The Good Brothers literally looked legit as hell. Legit. Like they came out here and they looked like monsters, especially Doc. Man, he looked like he could just kill anybody. So I did like this. I think once we came back from commercial was when we saw the tide turn around and we started to see Kingston was finally able to get the hot tag to Moxley. The only criticism I think I had of this match was I did wish that there were a couple of moments where I felt that Moxley could have sold the arm a little bit more. There were a couple of spots where he just did them too easily, where it wasn't really selling the right arm as much. So I did think that could have been done a little bit better. But nonetheless, this was a fun fight. This was up until this point probably my favorite match. Obviously, that didn't end up staying as is. But Moxley ended up winning with the inside cradle. Post-match, though, we had a lot go down in the post-match. The Good Brothers came out and attacked, well, not came out, but the Good Brothers continued to attack Jon Moxley after this match. Kenny Omega then came out and both of them, Kenny Omega, the Good Brothers, and all of them really outnumbered Kingston and Moxley here. And they were about to pillmanize Moxley, but the Young Bucks came out and ended up helping Moxley there. So I liked all of this because the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega were basically trying to make peace with the Young Bucks, but the Bucks weren't really buying it. They weren't buying it. They try to walk out. Kenny's trying to, taunt Matt Jackson. He's trying to get him to, lose his cool. He's trying to get him to get mad. They go back and forth, and then finally Moxley basically ends it by, getting a chair. They all disperse out of the ring. So I like this. I like the fact that Kenny Omega has been playing mind games with the Young Bucks. He's been playing mind games with them. And it kind of seems like for a while, the Young Bucks were sort of starting not to trust Kenny Omega anymore. They were starting to see behind, through all the BS. They were starting to see who Kenny Omega really was becoming. So I like the fact that now the Young Bucks now know for a fact that they shouldn't be trusting Kenny Omega. So I liked how all of this played out. The match was good. Good Brothers looked great. Eddie Kingston, Moxley, great promo. Overall, good stuff. So what did you guys all think about this? Let's see here. We have a comment from Robert Vasquez who says, I love that Kingston was still trying to fight while pretty much broken on the side of the ring. Yeah, and even afterwards, he was like yelling out to get in the ring and be with Moxley. And let me tell you this, that is the kind of friendship we should all have. We all need to have a Jon Moxley or an Eddie Kingston in our lives, man. And you know what? Now I'm pretty bummed out that I don't have a Jon Moxley or an Eddie Kingston, man, in my life. We have a comment from Nicholas who says, I have to say the segment after the match had me in suspense because you really weren't sure what the Bucks would do. That Bullet Club sign is sacred and the Bucks broke it. No turning back now. Yeah, for a second, I thought, nah, they're gonna be the bigger men and they're gonna walk out. They're not gonna let Kenny's cheap tactics, they're not going to let Kenny trick them, right? They're not going to let Kenny manipulate them. But for a split second, I thought, well, what if just maybe, the Young Bucks fall for it? So there was that little bit of a tension. And I think I really appreciated that. I think there were a lot of moments throughout Dynamite today. What made it a good show was that there were a lot of moments where you were sort of on edge and you were really like focusing in, harnessing in on the TV and trying to figure out like, well, what's going to happen here? Because you can have a prediction of what's going to happen. But as you all know, that really isn't what always happens. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on. Let's see. After this, we had, okay, here we go. We had a Sting interview with Tony Schiavone, and I started off by writing down, I'm going to say the same thing I said last week. Keep Sting special. After today's segment, makes me realize we didn't need the one from last week. We don't need to have Sting doing these interviews each and every single week. Keep Sting special. I don't know how else to say this. I feel like I've said this so many times now that I sound like a broken radio, but what we get out of this is that Darby is basically, he's done. He's upset that he's only defended his title 3 times. And I agree with him. He should be defending it more. He extends an open challenge to the Dark Order. And afterwards, we do find out that John Silver accepts that challenge. So woohoo, that worked out. But the thing that we need to talk about is that Lance Archer basically comes out once again and he calls Darby Allin, says that he calls him indurific and says that he's going to put him in a coffin. So I do like that now we're sort of getting this built with Lance Archer and Darby. So that's good. I like that. Up until this point, I'm still thinking we do not need Sting in this segment. We do not need Sting in this segment, right? But then we have Team Taz coming out. And Brian Cage, this is the start of his face turn. Brian Cage is starting to turn. And he basically comes out and tells Sting that he still respects him and sees him as an icon. Obviously, Team Taz is taken aback by that. They didn't see it coming. They're pissed off. Brian Cage walks off. So I did like how all of this sort of played out, how the Sting thing ended up basically leading to the Brian Cage turn and all of that, right? But again, I just really do think that if you're going to do this, like have it planned out so we don't always have to see Sting every single week. And I'm not saying that because I don't want to see Sting every week, but it's just that he should be treated more as like a special attraction per se. Like, again, we did not need the segment last week when we could have just had this segment this week. So it's just little things like that, that's pretty much it. And Brandon Charles says, how many Sting interviews does it take to get to the center of the Tootsie Roll lollipop? Oh my God. That's hilarious. Good joke, Brandon. I really appreciate that. Philly Heathen also says oversaturated. Yeah, the Keys boost says it's a running gag at this point. Maybe it is a running gag because they know that people are talking about it on social media, especially always doing the interview with Tony Schiavone. It kind of gets old for a second. It gets old. All right. Haj Gulashi says Sting is a wrestler on the roster. I don't think he should be a special attraction anymore more than anyone else. So maybe the time has passed. Is that what you're telling me? You think the time has passed to make him a special attraction? Because he's been there every week. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and move on. So after this, we had a quick package where Scorpio Sky, I like this. Obviously, he didn't have a match tonight, but I like the fact that they did this video package. I like what they're doing with him. Happy that they included him on the show in some form or way. We have another super chat from Daniel. Daniel, thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate these super chats. BTW, if you didn't hear me mention this before, F4W does allow me to keep 100% of the proceeds after YouTube takes their cut. And they do take a big chunk, which I do not appreciate, but what can you do? So either way, Daniel, thank you so much for sending in a super chat. He says, I like that the segment laid down so many possibilities. You're not wrong. Resting though, give me Cage Hobbs like yesterday. Yeah, that too. See, that's the thing though. I think like all around with Dynamite, the AEW roster, excuse me, I feel like there are so many different matchups that can be happening. And that is what I appreciate from the shows, is that we do get things moving along. Like even last week, which was the show right after AEW Revolution, we had a lot of things end and a lot of new things start. And I really appreciate that they keep it moving instead of us having to see things over and over and over again until we're like sick of seeing them, right? So yeah, good stuff here. Daniel, thank you so much for the super chat. And Ryan T says, those stimmy super chats. Yeah, everybody, most people, I think, got their stimulus. So I do appreciate all of the stimulus super chats coming in. I really do. Haj Galashi says, BTW, Denise, I'll be your Eddie Kingston. Who are we fighting? Thank you so much. I got myself an Eddie Kingston here. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for those super chats. And we have another comment that I wanted to read here, and I kind of lost it, but it's okay. All right, let's move on. All right, so after this, we had Rey Fenix versus Angelico. I know someone here earlier said that they liked this match. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't like this match. I'm sorry. I was expecting a little bit more because I'm a big fan of both, obviously Rey Fenix and Angelico. So I think this match was just a little bit too slow for my liking. I thought that they could have done a little bit more, but at the end of the day, it did what it did. It accomplished what it needed to, which was giving Rey Fenix a good win. My favorite part, though, was how they set up the crucifix bomb. I thought that was really awesome. So this was a quick win for Fenix. Obviously, had this match just been a little bit longer, I think I would have liked it a little bit more. But for what it was perfectly okay. We also got a segment where the Pinnacle takes over the Inner Circle locker room. So there you go. And then now, guys, let's talk. So we kind of been talking about this throughout the entire now, but we need to give it its proper time here. And this was the lights out match that everybody is talking about, with Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa, with Thunder Rosa defeating Britt Baker. And I said this at the top of the stream, I'll say it again. This was a turning point in the AEW women's division. This was a history making moment for the AEW women's division. This was an awesome match. And I know there's going to be people, because I've already seen them on Twitter, I've already seen them on my timeline, basically saying it was just your hardcore match, it was this, it was that, whatever. But I have to disagree with all of those people, because this was an awesome match. Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker went out there, and I think blew everybody's expectations out of the water. I think whatever your expectations were heading into this match, I think that it blew everybody's expectations completely, because they basically did everything they possibly could to really just get over this story, continue getting over this storyline, getting over this match. You saw there was tables, a Rebel went through a table. I mean, we had tables, we had ladders, we had chairs, we had thumbtacks. I mean, they did so much. There was so much blood in this. And I know some people are probably going to be like, oh, well, it's women's wrestling, we shouldn't have blood. Dude, screw that. Okay. The blood went with the story that they've been telling. These are two women that have not been getting along. They do not like each other. They're mad, they're angry. They've been telling the story for a long time now. This was the best way to sort of, not completely wrap it up, because I do think we will see more of this down the line. We will be seeing more of Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, but this was a great way. Oh God, I can't even put this over enough, guys. And I've been putting it over the top of the stream, in the middle of the stream, and even towards the end. I mean, this was really, really great. The finish here, the finish that we have here, and I really enjoyed the finish. It was a Thunder driver from Thunder Rosa to Britt on the table. I mean, that when they were setting it up, oh man, I was really nervous. I was so nervous, but then they did it and it just looked really good. It was a great finish, and just the way that they did everything, every spot that they did, it all made sense. I love the way that, Thunder Rosa was bleeding. I love the way that it ended up with Britt Baker. I mean, girl was gushing out blood. We have a super chat from Dagon S. Broad, who says, breaking news, Kylie Rae will return to the ring on June 5th to defend her Warrior Wrestling title and is strongly hinted to be against Thunder Rosa. Did they announce that? Because when did they announce that? I did not miss that. When did that happen? All right, I'll probably see this after the stream. I kind of hate when news breaks when I'm live streaming because I can't see what's happening. But thank you to Dagon for sending in the super chat here. Let's see. We have another super chat from Crifter, who says, my joy for Rosa Baker was much like Denise's joy for Taylor winning Album of the Year. Also, thoughts on Kylie Rae making her return to wrestling. I just found out. I literally just found out right now. So, I mean, my thoughts are, just based on what I know right now, is that I'm excited for her. I didn't expect it because she kind of seemed like she was done. So good for her. Once I actually read up on what is happening, I'll be able to give a better opinion here. But seriously, Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker killed it. They killed it, and they deserve all of the praise and all of the respect that they get, because boy, oh boy, did they do a really great job there. We have a comment from, guys, send in your thoughts. I'm going to be reading all your comments here or most of your comments on what you guys felt about this match. Richie says that this was the greatest women's match ever in AEW. I have to completely agree with that. I can't think of another women's match in AEW off the top of my head that I felt was this meaningful and this entertaining. Morningstar says Thunder Rosa and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, stole the show. 5 stars. L from Nintendo says, this was MOTY. Oh, match of the year. For a second, I was like, Money in the Bank. God, guys, my brain is not working that fast right now. L from Nintendo says, this was match of the year. People don't get that women's hardcore match are soft in TV, no blood, no big moves through tables, etc. This was a breaking point. And now not only men can do hardcore matches with blood. Exactly. Try to think of how many women's matches you've had like this. Like, think about it. There aren't as many, maybe. Like, really think about it. Yeah, I do agree with the statement, Alfra Mentado. Good job here. And let's see what else we have here. Go ahead and send in your thoughts. I'm going to try to get to as many as possible. Kyle Smiley says, I couldn't believe my eyes when they brought out the thumbtacks. Dude, and you could tell, like, having all the blood in your face makes things much more complicated. Obviously, things are going to start looking a little blurry. And like, you can tell, like, Britt was kind of struggling with that for a second because she was really bleeding a lot. She bled so much more than Thunder Rosa. And so when they brought out the thumbtacks, I was just like, oh, they've already were going to the limit. Oh, they just kept taking it to another level that I don't think many people expected. Dagon says, tough to disagree. It was the best women's match in AEW history so far. Daniel says, Thunder Rosa, Serena Deeb, still my favorite, but this was so much more meaningful and entertaining. And let's see. We have another super chat from Darth Talk. Thank you so much to Darth Talk. You are keeping me fed, man. Thank you. Says, I knew this match was going to be brutal, but damn, when I saw the thumbtacks, they went beyond expectations. Standing ovation for Rosa and Baker. They 100% went above people's expectations. Labor Day says, Kylie Rae is terrific. Would love to see her come back if she is healthy. Exactly. And let's see what else we have here. Jake Larson says, I hope the ratings top 1 million for this main event. This give women a chance more in AEW. Yeah, honestly, I really just hope that we continue to see we continue to see more for the AEW women's division, because after what we saw today, like Bod Cams just say, one of the best main events on Dynamite, period, exactly, men or women. So yeah, period. I really hope that they just continue. They have a lot of momentum right now. Keep riding that wave of momentum with this. We have a comment from Linux who says, I personally hadn't been too big into the long build for Rosa and Britt, but this payoff sold me on the whole feud and was one of my favorite matches in a long time. I could respect that. Thank you so much to Linux for sending in this comment. We have a comment from Mayor Oblit who says, Riho versus D was a better match for me, but I love them leveling up with these extremely violent spots. Nicholas says, watching Britt's face gave me flashbacks of Cactus Jack with his tooth up his nose, or Austin a bloody mess versus Bret Hart. Honestly, that is on this classic level. And we have a comment from K-Town Shutdown 21 who says, Mick Foley would be proud of this match, reminiscent of his matches that solidified Triple H, Orton, and Edge as superstars. All matches that those are the matches that you don't forget. That's the easiest way I can put it. Matches that you do not forget because of either how entertaining they were, or how memorable, entertaining, and in this case, meaningful. And what else? Okay, here we go. FM says, I can't think of many matches where they kept wrestling after a thumbtack spot. All right, guys, so there you go. That was AEW, which practically did this entire hour. I'm going to spend a couple more minutes going over the major moments of NXT. So don't go anywhere. Let's talk about NXT. But before I get to NXT, BTW, guys, if you haven't followed me on Twitter or on Instagram, please do so, whether you're watching the stream, whether you're listening to the audio version of this. I am at _Denise Salcedo. I am about to hit 17K. I'm less than 200 followers away. So help a girl out. I'm trying to get to 20K by the time it's my birthday. So that is May. Until May, I'm trying to get to 20K. So we'll see if that happens. Lastly, actually, I'm going to read this comment from Bradley who says, the AEW women's roster is stacked. Now it has credibility. Good way of putting it. Yeah, good way of putting it. All right. Okay, so here we go. Let's jump into NXT. Let's go over the main highlights of the show, what you really need to know. And the show opened up with Finn Balor basically saying he's beaten everybody. Mentions beating Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, etc., and says that Cross is the one that remains and that he's been waiting for him. Cross then comes out. Finn tells him, look, dude, you walk and talk like a champion, but I'm the champion. Cross then tells him that he's going to squeeze all the oxygen out of him and choke him out. Finn's responds to that by saying that he's going to give Cross a taste of what it's like to be in the main event of TakeOver and choke. So I really liked this back and forth between Cross and Finn Balor. I loved it. I was here for it. I was here for all of the comebacks. I loved all of this. Then we had Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan come out. And this is where I kind of really started to lose a little bit of interest, just because So let me explain. So Scarlett suggests that they put their titles on the line, Oney Lorcan and Daniel Burch, that they put their tag team titles on the line against Cross and Finn. Scarlett practically seduces them until they say yes, and they schedule it for later in the night. So I love the opening segment in terms of the promo work between Cross and Finn Balor. What I didn't think they needed was Cross and Finn going for the tag team titles. And I will tell you why. The reason why I wasn't interested in this was because they're sort of already been telling a similar storyline with Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks over on SmackDown. Then you kind of already told a similar story to that with Bianca and Sasha Banks and Bayley. So it's kind of like, we don't need to see this for every single championship match. So I wasn't it's overplayed already. It's been done one too many times, and too many times where it's too close in recent memory is what I'm trying to get at. So I didn't really care for them having to go for the tag team titles later on. I don't think that they needed it. Then we also had Austin Theory versus Dexter Lumis. And basically, all I want to say really from this match is that Lumis really has improved. I haven't really been that big of a fan of Dexter Lumis, but I will say that he is improving. So his matches have gotten a little bit better. I didn't mind this match with Austin Theory whatsoever. Lumis won by choking out Austin Theory. So that was pretty much that there. Let's see what you guys have to say though so far on what we've been talking about. Sean Harrington says, Finn Balor is the best champ in wrestling. I 100% agree with that. And I think I said that a couple weeks ago on the show, is that Finn Balor really is my favorite champion right now in all of wrestling, because in terms of work rate and the matches that he's been having, I really do not think that anybody has been having the type of matches that Finn Balor has been having. So that's my personal opinion here. Joseph says, I agree with Denise. A non-title match made more sense to me. The titles weren't that important in this match. It was a trap to help Cross and Scarlett get a leg up before Stand and Deliver. And I'm going to talk about that match once we get to it, but I was not a fan of what happened, and I will explain that once we get there. All right. Turns out I break down after an hour, everybody. Breaking down here. Okay, guys. So here, Jeffrey Thomas says, no way, Omega's the best champ right now. Dude, Omega's a great champion. I really do think so. But I do think Finn Balor, in terms of matches, Finn Balor has been having my favorite matches. But you guys are free to choose whatever you want. Free to choose whatever you want. All right, so after this, we had Adam Cole basically coming out saying that he's mad at Kyle O'Reilly. The fact that he cost him the title the week before, says Kyle O'Reilly is jealous of him because he'll never be as successful as him. William Regal comes out and basically tells him that Kyle O'Reilly is not cleared. He wasn't cleared last week. He isn't cleared this week, and that he's been banned from the Capitol Wrestling Center because he's done further damage to himself. Kyle O'Reilly then pops up on the screen and basically says that he's willing to do whatever it takes to get to stop Adam Cole. Adam Cole says that he's going to try to find Kyle O'Reilly first, and this pretty much plays out the rest of the night. We had a really fun match between Breezango and Legado del Fantasma. So I want to say two things. One, I love what they've been doing with Legado del Fantasma. They've been keeping them strong, probably since that street fight that they had with Cross, Santos Escobar Cross match. I thought that one was really good, and I like how they utilize Legado del Fantasma in that. I like that. Also, secondly, I do want to add that I love Breezango. I really, really do. I thought that both of these teams, they really had good chemistry with one another. This was a nice, fast-paced match, and probably, I'm going to say probably the best match. Yeah, I'm going to say that this was probably my favorite match on NXT tonight. I thought it was pretty good. I really like it, and this was really like my style of tag team matches that I like to see. Really fun tag team matches. So I really liked this. Then afterwards, we also have we have a lot of people talking about whether or not who they think's their favorite champion. All right. So after this, we had Jordan Devlin returning to NXT to confront Santos Escobar. So last week, when we found out that Jordan Devlin was going to be here on NXT, to be honest, I didn't really care. I didn't really have much of an interest. I don't think I've ever really been a big fan of Jordan Devlin. So kind of going into it this week, I wasn't necessarily maybe as pumped as maybe some other people were. However, I do have to give credit where credit is due. And I thought that Jordan Devlin did really well in this segment. He basically came out and he tells Santos Escobar to take a good look at him because he's the real champion. Says he didn't come to jump in from behind, that he doesn't need stooges the way Santos Escobar does. And then Devlin basically tells him to trash that bout, to trash that replica bout, because he's the real champion and the real champion is back. So I will have to say this. I thought that Jordan Devlin with Santos Escobar, I thought it was fine. I was interested. Jordan Devlin managed to get me interested in the storyline with Santos Escobar. So I like this. And I also like the fact that Santos Escobar, I've been liking his reign on NXT. I think they've been doing a good job of keeping him going from story to story. We've been seeing him do a lot as champion, and I really, really like that. So I'm happy that they're utilizing Santos Escobar as champion. So I do like this, and really, honestly, I like this just much more than I expected it to be. Now, I hope this doesn't fall apart afterwards because I really do like what Santos Escobar has been doing as champion, and I don't necessarily want to see Escobar lose in any sort of way, but I don't know what's going to happen here. I just really, really like where they're going with this so far. So let's see if any other thoughts, guys. Did you guys have any thoughts on this? Let's see. We have a comment from Joseph Boza who says, about freaking time they unified the Cruiserweight Championship. Jordan got the title at a worse time. 6 weeks later, everything went to hell. Yeah, pretty much. Jeffrey Thomas says they agree with Riggs. Balor has been boring. Omega is doing new and inventive things during his run. The Impact Invasion, his Mox feud, and will soon be a champ when he beats Rich. Dude, I don't think Finn Balor has been boring. No way, man. No way has he been boring. I think anybody can like whatever champion they want, but I do not think Finn Balor has been boring. I think his matches have been phenomenal. Like, there have been so many takeovers where like I come on here and I'm like talking about how much I loved it. All right, but here we go. Let's move on to let's see. We had Zoe Stark versus Dakota Kai. Really, what I want to get at here is that Dakota Kai has also been one of those people that has really improved. I feel like at the start, when I was sort of seeing her each and every single week, I always kind of felt like there was something missing from Dakota Kai. There was always something missing. Now I kind of feel like she has really sort of converted me into being a fan here. And Dakota Kai, I love the speed in which she works all her matches. So I did like this. I thought she worked really well with Zoe Stark. After the match, the main thing that we got to get from here is that Io Shirai comes out and she basically stares down Raquel. As you know, she already challenged her last week and basically told her that she told Raquel that she's next, and she shoves a contract on her chest and basically gives her the contract and leaves. So that's pretty much that. And then after this, we had so we need to talk about this because this is very exciting. So after this, we had Ciampa, after Ciampa's match, we had Walter coming out and confronting Ciampa. And I was really, really happy to see Walter. So the reason why, first of all, is that obviously we're going to get Walter versus Tommaso Ciampa. And I cannot wait for that match. To me, it's a big deal, guys. This match to me is a big deal because you know it's going to be killer. It's literally going to be two guys killing the hell out of each other. And I want to see Walter and Tommaso Ciampa kill each other. I am here for that. So I'm really excited about this. I also really think that Ciampa really needed this feud because, to be honest, the last couple of months or so, I really wasn't feeling anything that he was doing. I really wasn't as interested. So I really am excited for him moving on to something new. So I am looking forward to this. I think that this will be a pretty gruesome match. So when he came out, he basically comes out, Walter comes up and literally just gives Ciampa this this loud, horrible chop that literally rattles everybody. I mean, obviously we already know that Walter's chops are unlike, many others, but this one it was just a nice reminder of what he can do. So after this, Imperium basically kicks Tommaso Ciampa's butt, and then I think afterwards Walter basically just power bombs Tommaso Ciampa, and that's pretty much the end of that. So I really, really enjoyed this. There's so many possible matchups that you can have with Walter and pretty much so many other different talents on the NXT roster. So I'm very much looking forward to this. We have a super chat from Brandon who says, Walter versus Ciampa? Yes. Two guys smacking each other as hard as possible. That's my favorite type of wrestling. Dude, sign me the hell up for this. Sign me the hell up for this. I am so ready for it. Yep, good stuff here. And let's see what else we have here. We have a comment from Nicholas who says, I'm glad Walter came out. Imperium has seemed weak, having them split across the country. I hope this is them finally in NXT to stay. I hope so too. I think he will do so much. I think he needs to be seen by more people. And the way to do so is by having him on NXT. Joseph says, I could see Ciampa versus Walter main event the night one of Stand and Deliver on TV. I don't see them doing Finn and Cross on TV. Yeah, I can see that as well. And Jeffrey Thomas says, oh, this is about the Finn Balor thing. He says, I mean, Finn Balor has good matches, but the builds and storylines have been boring. I can see that. But I just think, no. I really like what he's been doing with Adam Cole in the Undisputed Era, though. So I can't necessarily say it's been boring either. But that's my personal opinion. My personal opinion. All right. So after this, we had the debut of LA Knight, formerly known as Eli Drake. LA Knight. LA Knight debut match against Gray. He wins. To be honest, going into this match, I kind of really didn't care. I mean, to be honest, the shorter the match, the better for LA Knight, really. What I do like about this, though, is that obviously he's been, having his back and forth moments with Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed comes out and basically puts on his jacket and rips it. And I like the fact that they're finally giving Bronson Reed something to do, because Bronson Reed had been having quite a few matches. He was winning and all of that, but there was really nothing else to Reed. There really wasn't anything going on with him. So I do like that they're doing the storyline with him and LA Knight. But this match should have ended a lot faster, I think. This should have been a quicker win for LA Knight in his debut. And lastly, I'll have to read this too. Brandon says, still can't get into the name LA Knight. Neither can I. I really cannot. I can't. It doesn't seem like a real name to me. It really just doesn't. To me, it just feels like it doesn't make sense to me. I don't like it. I really, really don't like it. So that's how I feel about that. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into the main event, which was Finn and Cross versus Oney Lorcan and Daniel Burch for the tag team titles. So at the top of the stream, I basically said that I wasn't feeling them going for the tag titles, and I already stated my reasons as to why. But I didn't like how all of this played out in the end. I didn't like it. I didn't think we needed it, and it didn't really make sense. So I came on here and I said Finn Balor has literally been my favorite champion. He's been kept strong, been having great matches, etc. Right? This for me did nothing, because how this basically ends is Finn Balor does a running double stomp, and in doing so, he accidentally gets Scarlett, and Scarlett basically drops to the ground, etc. He's taken aback. He's sort of acting, he's not really the Finn Balor that we've been seeing. He's looking at Scarlett and he's just kind of dumbfounded by what he did. He's looking at her like he doesn't really understand, like, oh my God, like what just happened, etc. So I don't like that. I did not like that. That's not the character that Finn Balor has been. So they kind of made him look a little bit dumb here, and I was not a fan of that. So whatever. He's sort of gone, lost a little bit in what he did to Scarlett. So Cross sees this and literally grabs Finn and starts smashing him on the plexiglass, starts throwing him back and forth. He then tosses him back into the ring, and what ends up happening here, I was not a fan of either. Oney Lorcan was able, because of this, to get a pin, to get the win on Finn Balor, and Finn Balor was pinned by Oney Lorcan. And I get it. Obviously, they weren't going to become tag team champions, which is why I don't think you needed this match. But I did not like seeing Finn Balor get pinned here. He has literally been the best booked champion in the company, and they had him be pinned in this match. I did not think you needed that whatsoever. And the way that it happened, it just did not do anything good for Finn Balor, especially because everything that he has been doing has been so good, so solid. This was not it. So after this, Cross is pissed. He starts beating up everybody. He beats up Danny Burch, Oney Lorcan, Finn Balor, everybody. And that's that. This basically, the show ends with Finn Balor laid out on the floor. Scarlett's like telling him things, she's working her like voodoo magic, all of that. I didn't think they needed to do this angle. I didn't like it. I was not a fan of it, and it kind of really bummed me out that they did that. But there you guys go. What a night of wrestling, though. What a night. The most memorable thing, and the thing that should be talked about, though, is definitely that main event from AEW Dynamite with Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. They really, really did something really awesome tonight, and I just think that they deserve all the respect and praise that they can get for there. So there you guys go. That was the show. Thank you so much for bearing with me, for staying over an hour and chatting with me about everything that went down here tonight. We had so much to talk about. Also, just friendly reminder, do not forget to subscribe to F4W Online if you haven't already. I'm sure most of you guys have, but even if you're listening to the audio version of this, if you haven't subscribed to F4W Online yet on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. There's so much content. You can also be a member and get member exclusive only content, which is really great too. And then also you'll be able to catch my show each and every single Wednesday night here. Thank you guys so much. Please do not forget to follow me on Twitter or on Instagram at _Denise Salcedo. And you can also check me out on youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. Thank you guys so much for tuning in each and every single week. And I will see you again next week for Speak Now Pro Wrestling. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.